For this video, I just wanted to sit down and chat with you about how many things do I have here? 7 things I wish I knew before I started competing. I've had so many people ask me about my experience competing in the bikini division. It was time to sit down and make this video. I've turned pro in 2 federations, won my pro debut, competed a total of 8 times. I don't want this video to come off as me bashing the sport or being ungrateful for all it taught me. With every sport there's always gonna be like hard parts and downsides. It does look glamorous on show day, but it's very much like a selfish sport, and it's very much a psychological game that can have long-term consequences. Hope this helps you guys out. Let's get into it. So thing number 1 I wish I knew before I started competing is that I kind of knew this, but I didn't really know what it actually meant. And that's that you're dieting down to unhealthy body fat levels. You don't want to stay there longer than a few weeks. Like, you're shredded, you're super lean. It's at about 6 weeks till a month out from show day where you start to get into like dangerously low body fat levels. I've seen bikini competitors at the pro level do DEXA scans right before show day, and they're as low as 8% body fat for a female, which just sounds insane. And when you diet down to those levels, there's consequences. And if you don't diet in properly, and more importantly, diet out or reverse diet out, you can really yourself up. What ends up happening is because your metabolism is so low and you're like starving, you end up basically going all in and gaining a bunch of body fat. Meanwhile, your metabolism is still only used to burning 1,200 calories. And so you're just basically it's not a good place to be. Your hormones are you've gained a bunch of weight, you're depressed, and so it's really important to have that post-show strategy plan. We'll get into that in a second. Thing number 2, it's expensive and a big time commitment. For example, doing shows at the national level costs at least a few $1,000s. There's the travel, there's the hotel, there's the hair, there's the makeup, there's the suit, there's the registration fee. Once you get to the national level of competing, you're paying about $1,000 to $2,000 a show, and if you plan to turn pro, you're doing multiple national shows to even get a shot at turning pro. If you've never done this before, you're gonna want a really good coach who knows what they're doing, and ideally someone who's experienced working with natural bikini competitors. The coaches that work mostly with the women that are doing steroids or on Anavar or on clenbuterol, which are common drugs used at the pro level in the bikini division. Those coaches and those coaching practices require different knowledge than somebody that's experienced working with natural bikini competitors. You can do a whole lot more training and you can eat more when you're taking a bunch of crap. When you're a natural bikini competitor, things are a little bit harder, things are a little bit different. And so you're gonna want a coach that's experienced working with natural bikini competitors. The typical cost for a coach for like a 12-week prep is anywhere from around $1,100 on the low end to $1,500 or even $2,000 on the high end. But I do not think 12 weeks is enough to really get you stage ready and then reverse out of that. I would actually recommend something more of like an 18-week prep, so you have time to like take a diet break in there, kind of like revamp your metabolism in the midst of like a 12-week prep. And then you probably want at least another 12 weeks on top of that to basically reverse out of the shit show that you put your body through during prep. It is very real dieting down to such low body fat levels, and you want to make sure that you reverse out of that massive caloric deficit that you've been in properly. Number 3, you might develop body dysmorphia. In fact, you probably will to a certain extent because that is the sport. Or worse, you might develop some type of an eating disorder. I don't want to throw around the term eating disorder or body dysmorphia loosely because I know they're very, very serious things and I'm not a psychologist. I can only talk about my own experience, and I will tell you that after competing in the sport, because I was so conditioned into wanting to be as lean as possible, wanting to be as jacked as possible, I would kind of look at my body and I would just see like pockets of fat. And so I was kind of dealing with this body checking like anxiety around eating something and then having the fat get on my body right away just because I had worked so hard to diet down to such extreme levels. This was kind of like my life for, let's say, 2 years after I stopped competing. So my last show was in 2018. I decided I want to get pregnant in 2019. I got pregnant. I had my baby in 2020. And it wasn't until like 2020 when my relationship started to heal with food. And it took a freaking pregnancy and it took 2 years for me to start looking at my body and seeing it at a higher body fat percentage and not being completely grossed out. I was so used to my body being at the stage lean level or just slightly above stage, like 15% body fat, which is shredded for a woman, being like, if I'm not 15% body fat, like I'm fat. And that's just crazy, right? Like that's bad shit crazy. Now I know that I look my best and I feel my best and like I actually have a period around like 20 to 23% body fat. I feel really good in that range. I remember like looking at some of these photos and thinking that I looked too, like I was carrying too much fat. And now I look at that and I'm like, wow, you were crazy. If you are someone that's susceptible to body dysmorphia, you've struggled with that in the past, or you've struggled with any type of eating disorder in the past, definitely don't compete. It's only gonna accentuate that for you. And just to kind of touch on like the reason why I think that is, I think because when you're going through a prep, you have to be very, very strict. There's no gray area. It's like, you either ate the cookies or you didn't. You were either on point with your diet today or you weren't. You either worked out or you didn't. Like you have to be very black and white about it, just like any good athlete. It's really hard to erase that mindset after you've been doing it for a while. It took me literally 2 years in a pregnancy to kind of get back to my normal self. Those 2 years of my life, that's a lot of life lost. I just think of all I could have accomplished in those 2 years if I gave myself some more respect and looked at myself as more than just a body to be shredded. For some reason, and I'm not saying every bikini competitor is like this, I just kind of went into this territory and this mindset of like, my body's value is how it looks, because that's the sport, right? That's the mindset. I don't know, I guess I just forgot who Juliana like was. It sounds so weird, but it's true. Number 4, it will take time to go back to feeling normal about food. It took me 2 years. Because you have to be so black and white about food, I remember after competing, it was really hard for me to just like eat one Oreo. Like I can still barely eat one Oreo, let's be honest, but like it would trigger these feelings of me feeling like I had failed if I ate like a donut hole or like an Oreo, or I just wanted to take a bite of cake. And then it would lead to this whole binging episode because it was like, well, it, you know, you already ate cake, so you're a horrible person. And so now, like, obviously this makes no sense, right? But this was just because I was in such like this athlete black or white mindset around food, eating and training. It was really hard for me to just kind of go back to like, just have it, you know, just eat the freaking Oreo. It's not gonna be the end of the world. It just took me like 2 years, legit 2 years to go back to feeling like normal about food. And I still have, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna pretend to be perfect. I still have moments where I definitely overeat. And that was 2 years of my life, guys. Not saying you'll be like that. I'm not saying everyone will be like that. I'm just saying if you do plan to compete, just plan to budget time where you're gonna just have this weird mindset around food and it's gonna take time for you to get back to normal. Number 5, the period after competing in your show is actually the hardest part. And when you diet down to these low body fat levels, you really need to take it slow when you go and get your calories back up. Some people call this reverse dieting. It's the hardest part because after the show, you're just like so hungry and the show's over. So it's like, okay, why am I dieting anymore? Like, this is dumb. And you just want to eat like the whole world. It's really hard to still be in reverse diet mode, slowly getting your calories back up so your body can adapt to this new higher caloric intake. You have to be patient because your metabolism at this point is just so that if you go back to eating like you did before you were a competitor, you're just gonna get you're gonna gain like 20 pounds, like that. And then your metabolism's gonna be only at burning like 1,200 calories a day. And it's gonna take you like years to get that fat off. So just go slow, take your time after the show, be prepared that that's actually gonna be the hardest part. 6, there's a culture of binging post-show. So a lot of you guys might have seen bikini competitors after show, they're eating donuts, everyone's got candy backstage, they go out to eat, burgers. As somebody who's like struggled with binging, that was not good for me. That's not an environment I should be putting myself into because post-show, you know, would turn into like literally eating 10,000 calories. then no problem, because you're just so hungry. Okay, number 7, presentation is everything. Posing and stage presence is 90%. Everyone on like a national level stage looks great, deserves to be there, is in the best shape of their lives, like could all place top 5. But it's really only the people that understand that the posing, the finesse, the stage presence, that is everything. You want to take time to master your posing, master your angles, take videos of yourself, study game time footage, look at every single angle, every shot, every move, and dissecting literally every second, every millisecond of your posing routine so that you just don't it up once you get on stage. You work so hard, you work for months to get to this level of leanness, and if you go on stage and you're not confident or you haven't really practiced enough so that it's so easy to do, then you haven't done yourself justice for the show. You could hire a posing coach, or you could even just do it yourself. What I did in the very beginning is I just record myself and just study what looked good, and then I would tweak my posing routine based on that. I would watch a lot of posing videos and posing routines online. I would watch like the Bikini Olympics to see like what were the judges liking right now, what looks the best, what do they not like, and then I would just copy it. The thing you probably want to know is, would I ever compete again? The likelihood of me doing that again is very low. I don't think I'm ever going to step on stage again, and now that I know how hard it is to get to that level, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to stay at 20% body fat, 23% body fat, and just chill here and be happy. It's cool that I did it, but is it worth it for me to do it again? Nah, I'm good. I'm sure there's more than these 7 things that I said that other people wish they knew before they started competing. So if you're a competitor, if you've done this stuff before, please post your thoughts in the comments below. If there's questions that I didn't answer, let me know. I think I'm gonna do a future video on like me trying my bikini competitor workouts and diet for a day. So if you wanna see what that hell looked like, stick around for that. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, click the like button. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you guys so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.